Hello and welcome to our channel. My name is Stephanie and together with my friend Danielle, we clean homes for free. In today's video, we are cleaning the kitchen for a gentleman who is going through a tough time right now, and I'll cycle back to his story a little later on. It is another solo clean by myself, and that is because my children go to school and a childminder, whereas Danielle's youngest is only 1 year old, and so it is harder for her to find the extra time to come and do these cleans. Just in case anybody was wondering why the last few cleans have been solo cleans, it's because we have such a long wait list of people needing our help right now, and we just don't like making people wait. So we're trying to fit in as much as we can, especially because I am back at university next week. So Danielle couldn't make it today for the voiceover, and one of the reasons for that is just because we have left it so last minute to do this voiceover, because it took me forever to edit the video because it's just been a really hectic week. So I thought instead of just chatting all the way through, I would try and do some ASMR sections, because it's not like I'm having a conversation with Danielle, so I should be able to pause and take a breath and let you guys listen to the cleaning noises. Because I knew it was going to be myself, I did put a post on our community page asking if anybody had questions for me that I could answer. And yeah, so I'll talk a little bit about the house and what I was doing, and answer some questions and just do some general chit chat. When I first started doing these videos, I did do the solo voiceovers then, and I was not as confident as I am now. I'm still not fully confident without Danielle here to just talk with. But hopefully it does come across that I am more confident than what I was. Originally, it would take me so long to do the voiceovers, and I would be pausing it and erasing sections and re-saying something if I felt like it didn't come across okay. But because when I do the voiceovers with Danielle, we just kind of press record and go for it, I thought I'm just going to do that this time. So if I stumble over words, or I pause a lot, or I stress my vowels too much, it's just tough. That's the way this voiceover is going to be done. So right now in the kitchen, what I am doing is gathering all the dishes and putting them in these 12 litre tubs, as you've seen there. So there were so many dishes in this house that you couldn't even see the sink, so it was lovely to discover that underneath all those dishes. And I think the gentleman that lives in this house definitely has hoarding traits. I'm obviously not qualified to say if somebody has hoarding disorder or not, but and he didn't tell me that he did. But there was only one person living in this flat, and there was about 3 times as many dishes as what I have in my house, and I have a family of 6. And when I mentioned that he could potentially donate some of his dishes or declutter, he was just very against that. And yeah, he told me that the kitchen had gotten into this kind of like state, I don't know what the word is, before, and that it took himself and 3 friends like 4 hours to wash the dishes. And yeah, it took me about 4 hours to wash the dishes just myself in this kitchen. This was my least favourite house that I've ever done, and it was because I don't like standing still and doing a task. Like when I was doing the laundry in the house with all the laundry, that was annoying because it hurts my back to stand still and do a task, and it's the same with dishes. So what I did in this house was I would do a load of dishes, and then I'd do something else, and then I would do more dishes, and just kept coming back to them over the course of the day. I was at this house for probably around 5 hours. And one of the questions that we do get is, how long do we typically spend in these houses? And it ranges from about 4 to 7 hours, just depending on how much time we have on that day. We do tend to come when the children are at school. And often my husband works evenings because he's a dog walker, and sometimes he has to walk dogs in the evening, so I have to get back to look after the children for him to do that. Other times Danielle needs to get back to pick up her children from their grandma's house, that kind of thing. So we are limited in our time, and that's why we don't always get everything done that we want to do. Another question that we got was, again, about us running out of time, and was there a particular house that we wish that we could come back to finish the job? Absolutely. I mean, I hate leaving jobs unfinished, and really I would like to go back to all of the houses, but I also want to help as many people as possible. And so even if we help everybody just a little bit, it's better than helping somebody several times and then that means other people aren't getting any help. So that's kind of why we don't often go back to the houses. But the house that I would really like to go back to is the one that I think it was titled the Biohazard Kitchen, and it was the one that was kind of using their kitchen as a landfill, because that house, the whole house, was in a pretty poor state and could use our help, but we didn't even finish the kitchen, and I felt really bad leaving the floors kind of the way that we left them. So I would really like to go back to that house, but unfortunately there was a loss in the family for that family, and so we have just left the ball in their court, and they can reach out to us whenever they feel that they're ready for us to go back and help them. I'm going to take a little breather now and let you listen to some cleaning sounds. I just thought I'd jump back in. I'm not very good at letting you listen to cleaning sounds because I'm watching the video as well, and then I'm thinking of what I'm going to say, and then I'll panic that I'm going to forget everything that I had planned to say. But yeah, I just thought I'd jump back in to say that I don't actually show you guys me washing any of the dishes because there were so many, and I personally don't find that interesting to watch at all. Some of you might find it interesting, but I'm trying to make content that I would also watch because, first of all, I have to watch it several times when I'm making the video, but also because I just feel like that's staying true to ourselves, and that's the advice that we were given by Mac. So yeah, so I don't show you me washing any of the dishes, but don't worry, I washed them and I rinsed them, which is a comment we get so often. And yeah, I don't even know how many loads I actually did. I didn't record all of them because originally I did record me doing some of the dishes, but then I just cut the footage out because the video was getting too long as well. But I don't know how many loads I did. In this house, I was also wearing my like earphones, so I was able to like sing along to music and stuff. So this was just me sorting out the cutlery drawer, and again there was so much cutlery. Like, this guy does not need this many dishes, and I really hope he does cut back, because I feel like if he just had like a tenth of the amount of dishes that he had, it wouldn't get back into this condition, because he would kind of be forced to clean the dishes as he went, rather than using every dish in the house and then getting overwhelmed by how many dishes there were. As well, as you can see on the floor behind me, there are lots of bags, and as well as hoarding dishes, this guy definitely hoards food. So the bottom cupboards have food in them, as well as those bags that are on the floor, as well as all the countertops, they're all covered in food. Like, not covered in food, like they are holding food. And then he told me that this was a bed sit, and there is a big cupboard where he keeps his clothes, and he told me he's been putting food in there as well, but I couldn't bring myself to really like looking into that cupboard. And so I went through a lot of the food, and so much of it was out of date. But the gentleman wasn't in the house anymore, so I couldn't be like, do you want me to throw this out? And I just had the instinct that he does have hoarding traits, and so I didn't want to throw any of the food out in case that like exasperated his like anxiety or something like that. So I did bag up the food, and I highly recommended to him to get rid of it, because I said to him, I said that even with all of that out of date food in like away, he still has so much food that he'll never be able to get through. But yeah, so I did recommend that he get rid of it, and I did bag it up, but I didn't bin it. Even like this like countertop next to me where the camera is sitting right now, there were so many teas and coffees. He must really like hot beverages, because I've never seen so many teas before. There was some that I didn't even realise what it was, and it wasn't just like tea bags. It was like the tea that like tea leaves, but they weren't leaves. I thought it was like pot puree, or I don't know how to say that word, puree. Anyway, I thought it was that, because it smelled very fragrant, but no, I think it was a type of tea. Anyway, I'm kind of waffling right now. I'll get back to some of the questions that we got asked. Also, I just realised I keep like slapping the notebook that's next to me. So if you keep hearing like a slap noise like this, that's what it is. It's me hitting the notebook. I don't know why. Just to make my point, I guess. So we got asked, how did you find your first clean for free house? Now, we have kind of covered this in a previous video, but I'll just answer it again. So when we first started doing this, we posted a community post on a Facebook page. Well, I think we did it on a couple, and we took some images from Google of houses that were in like poor condition, and we just kind of said, this is who we are, this is what we want to do. If you can relate to these photos, like no job is too big or small, like just everybody deserves help, that kind of thing, reach out to us. And I don't think we said that we were going to record the videos for YouTube. I can't remember if we said that in the post, but then when people did reach out to us, we did explain that our plan is to record the videos for YouTube, and are they okay with that? And we explained the reasoning and that kind of thing. And that was kind of how we got our first house. And we got quite a good response from that, because within a week, I think, or 2 weeks, we had about eight families reach out to us. So at the time we were only doing one house a week, and so that was already like 2 months worth of work for us. And yeah, we still kind of only have time to do one house a week, but we are trying to fit in some extra houses as well. And then somebody asked, how did you get into cleaning for free, and what YouTube channels do you like? So first of all, how we got into the cleaning for free is because I have always watched the YouTube cleaning channels. Like I discovered Mac after he'd been doing it for about a year, but I think I watched Ari right from the beginning, which was about 4 years ago. I think she started on YouTube anyway. And then I don't know if it was before or after that, but I was watching Living with Cambria's Helping Hand series, and I was watching people like clean their own houses as well. And then through Mac, I discovered Barbie and Bonnie and Colleen. So I watch all the cleaning channels. I really like watching people clean. I don't particularly like cleaning myself, although it is more enjoyable cleaning houses that are in really bad condition, because I like to see the transformation. In terms of what YouTube channels do you like, I don't know if that was specifically just what cleaning channels are like. So I watch a lot of different YouTube channels. I feel like I watch YouTube more than I watch television, because it's just like you can basically teach yourself anything from YouTube. Whenever I need to learn something, I don't even Google it these days. I just go straight to YouTube and put it in there and be like, okay, because I like the visual aids, and somebody showing you a video of how to do something is so much easier than me just reading it. I know how to build a whole website now. If anybody needs help with building a website, I know how to do it from watching YouTube videos. yeah, so anyway, the YouTube channels that I like, I'd say like the one that I probably watch religiously is Emily Norris. Now she's a Canadian, but she lives in England, and she has a beautiful family. She has 3 young boys. Well, they're not so young anymore, actually. I've been watching her for about 8 years. My youngest boy is the same age as her youngest boy, and I discovered her when I was pregnant with him. And she does clean with me's, meal prep with me, like a day in the life, productive. She does like Christmas lists. She basically is just vlogging her life, and she's such a lovely woman. She also recently brought out a book. Oh, this is not sponsored, by the way. I just really like her. Yeah, so I watch her, and then, as well as not really knowing how to clean growing up, I also did not know how to cook. And so YouTube has also taught me how to cook. And so one of the channels that I watch for like recipes and things, and I'm probably going to butcher her surname because I'm really bad at pronunciation, is Julia Pacheco. And again, she is an American, and I don't know if she has like Mexican roots as well, because a lot of the recipes that she seem to use like Mexican ingredients. But anyway, she does like a lot of like one pot meals or tray meals, really simple, easy to follow recipes. And I think she also brought out a book, but I haven't got her book. So yeah, so in terms of cooking, I like her. And then another one that I watch is The Wads, and that's WADS. Also, I'm going to link these channels in the description for people to go and see. And if you do go over there, please say that I sent them, because that would just be fun to see people tagging me. But yeah, so The Wads, and that's Kimberly Whisk. She is hilarious. She's like the funniest person that I watch on YouTube. I haven't really watched very many of her recent videos. Just I do not have the time to watch everybody, but whenever I'm in a bit of a like slump, I binge watch her videos because she is so funny and relatable, and I just absolutely love everything about her. I think she has 5 children now. It's either 5 or 6 children. And she does cooking, cleaning, days in the life. Again, much like Emily Norris, but she also does thrift with me and shop with me and all that kind of thing. She's just, I think she has ADHD. She's just so full of energy. And then there's a new channel that I really wanted to give a shout out. So even if you don't go and visit any of those other channels, because they're all quite established channels anyway, but this channel that I'm about to tell you about, she started her channel at the same time as us, and I think she's nearing 4,000 subscribers, which is really good considering she didn't get like a big shout out like what we did. And she is cleaning her own home. She's a beautiful soul. She has postpartum depression, and she's really open and honest and shares her life. She's living in an apartment with her 2 children, her husband, and I think her mum and another family member. Like, there's really a lot of them in this apartment. It's very cramped, and she's just so raw. And yeah, so her name is Rosie, and again, I'm going to butcher this surname probably, Rosie Flatten. And I'd love if you could all go over there and subscribe. I think you really would like the content. I do find that everybody that kind of watches these kind of cleaning videos seems to like this similar channels as what I would watch, because I like the cleaning videos as well. And Mac has mentioned that a couple of times as well. But yeah, so that's just a few channels that I watch. I couldn't go into all of them, otherwise that would be like a whole like 5-hour long video in itself. I watch a lot of videos, but yeah, the ones that I religiously watch are the like fellow mums and cleaning and gardening and cooking, that kind of thing. There's a couple of gaming channels that I watch, and like I really like tiny houses and van builds, that kind of thing, even though I'm not very good at DIY myself. So yeah, so they're the channels that I watch, and I hope that answers that question. And then this kind of ties into that one as well. So somebody says, do I have a favourite hobby? Well, and they said apart from cleaning, honestly, that's not even a favourite hobby of mine. I get hyperfixations on projects, so I jump from like one hobby to another hobby. But the one hobby that I've always had since I don't even remember how young I was, but is reading. And I know that's really cliche when people say, "What's your hobby?" and everyone's like, "Oh, reading." But no, I really, really love to read. When I was younger, like the library was my sanctuary. Like I would spend as much time out of the house as possible. I would go to the library. I really loved reading the Babysitter Club series. I don't know if anybody's heard of that when I was young. And I loved anything to do with magic and witchcraft. So obviously Matilda just spoke right to my heart, and then so did Harry Potter. And as I got older, my taste expanded. I'm not gonna lie, I read a lot of smut. I'm actually in this group of ladies who are wild. If anybody wants to join a Facebook group and they like reading smutty books, then I will link that below, because I'm sure they would really like to have you in the group. And my favourite author, like it's really hard to choose, but if I had to choose one all-time favorite author, it would be Leslie Pierce. And she writes historical fiction, and they're always really long stories. They always have a strong female lead, and they're set in different time periods. I was rubbish at history at school, and the one way that I was able to absorb history was through reading historical fiction, which obviously it isn't, like it's made up, but the actual historical facts are there. And so she writes books. I've read quite a few that were set in like the First and Second World War, and I've read about characters going across to America during the gold rush. I've read about characters being imprisoned and going across to colonize Australia, and her books are just really, really interesting. And yeah, so she's my all-time favorite. But right now, and probably for the past year, I have been down a fan fiction rabbit hole. I can't actually remember the last time I read a physical book, because I'm just so obsessed with Hermione. And now I don't even know how to say that right. For anybody that doesn't know, and if you're a Harry Potter fan and you like reading fan fiction, you'll probably know that everybody ships Draco Malfoy and Hermione Granger together. Now, Hermione Granger speaks to my soul. I absolutely love her. I would read anything with her in it. And I'm not going to lie, some of the fan fiction that I have read is actually better than books. Like, there's a god tier of fan fiction, and one of them is called Manacled, and it became really, really popular even out with the fan fiction community. And that was the second fan fiction book that I read, and I've never felt so many emotions reading a book in my life. And honestly, I cried so often, and I don't actually usually cry to books, but yeah, so if you like fan fiction or you like Harry Potter, definitely go and find some Hermione fan fiction, because there's no going back after that. Like, I started that about a year ago and I'm still down the rabbit hole. I'm now in like a Hermione WhatsApp group, and we read books together. Anyway, I'm really getting off topic. If you're not interested in reading, I'm so sorry for that like 5-minute tangent. I think I covered all the questions that I got asked on the post. So what I am kind of doing here now is I've done one half of the kitchen. I'm now moving on to the other half, and I was just going through the dates on this food. Any food that was in date, I was putting down into one of those containers that were now empty of dishes. And then food that was out of date was going into the bag on the right. And then once I clear off this bunker, I'm going to go through the bags on the floor and sort them out. I initially thought that the bags on the floor were the most recent shopping. However, I found tins that were dated 2022. And I know some people think that food in tins can last like forever, but I'm not one of those people. And so I put it into the bag with the other out of date food, because he honestly has so much that he won't miss it. But when I had mentioned at the end, like, I've put the food aside, he did say he was just going to eat it all. He wasn't going to throw it away, which is very sad, especially because as he's eating that out of date food, his other food's going to go out of date, and it's just going to be a vicious cycle. But at least he can kind of see all the food that he has now that's in date, so hopefully that helps. But yeah, when I say the food was out of date, I don't just mean it had just gone. I mean most of it was years out of date. I did briefly look in the fridge, but unfortunately I just didn't have time to clean in the fridge. It wasn't that bad though. And same with like inside the microwave and things and inside the oven. It really was, because it was just myself and I only had a few hours. I just did the things that make the most visual impact. Yeah, anyway, I'll let you have some more cleaning sounds, well, organizing sounds. I've just realised that I didn't actually answer the question of how did you get into cleaning for free, because I kind of went off on a tangent after I started talking about the cleaning videos that I like. So yes, I do like watching cleaning videos, and I've struggled with my own house. And when that has happened, I have a really good group of friends who have come around and helped me clean. And we kind of thought it's a shame that other people don't have that kind of support. And I mean, I've only had that support the last few years. Growing up, obviously, I didn't have that kind of support. I was never taught to clean, that kind of thing. I kind of learnt from YouTube. And watching other people clean people's homes for free was such an inspiration. And I've always liked helping people. I'm definitely a yes person. Even if I have so much on my plate, if somebody asks for something, I'm just like, yes, take every last piece of me. Like, but I enjoy it. That's what I like to do. I feel good helping people. I mean, everybody feels, who doesn't feel good helping people? So anyway, so I always wanted to do this kind of thing, but I just never took that step. And then this one time when my friends were helping me clean, I was kind of talking about this idea with Danielle, and she loves cleaning. So she was like, sign me up, I'll do it. She didn't even think about the YouTube side of it or the recording side of it. She was just like, yes, cleaning houses, let's do it. And so she said yes to me like one day. And then the very next day, I was like, okay, I've sorted out insurance, I've registered a business, I've created a Facebook page, we're ready to go. And she was like, whoa, slow down. But that's just the way I roll. I hyperfixate on a project and then I go with it. Like, I've now created like websites and everything just from like a passing thought. Anyway, so that's how we got into cleaning for free, and I hope that answers your question now. So we do have some other questions. These weren't specifically put on this post that I put up, but they are questions that we've either had a lot or people have asked and I've not really answered properly. So in our last video, we were asked if we treated the mold that they've seen. And no, we didn't. We are not professional cleaners. However, we are undergoing training because we want to become professional cleaners. And treating mold is something that we would want to do, especially because mold is actually very, very common in the UK because of the way our houses are built. I mean, I have mold in my own house that I want to treat. I had seen a TikToker, I think it was Clean with B or B, it was spelled BEA, and she has like a 3-step process to cleaning mold, and I've tested out the process and it does work. So the first step is white vinegar, the second step is hydrogen peroxide at 3%, and then the third step is any bleach-based mold spray, but you have to wait in between each of those steps for the chemicals to completely dry. You cannot under any circumstance mix those 3 chemicals. Obviously, like I say, I'm not a professional. If you do use that process, I take absolutely no liability. I'm copying her. So we know we don't treat mold. However, we want to undergo the training so that we can do that. And then another thing that gets mentioned is, obviously I have shown you that I have quite bad eczema, especially on my hands. And that's why sometimes I wear gloves, sometimes I don't, because one of the things that actually sets off my eczema more than anything is sweating. And so one of the treatments that people keep suggesting, and I am grateful for the suggestion, but it honestly does not work, is people suggest that I wear lightweight cotton gloves under my gloves. I can't do that because that would just it makes my hands sweat even more, and then that makes the eczema worse. So there really is no solution that I know of. I just have to use creams a lot. Another question that we've had is, do we ever do this off of camera? And are people not frightened by the gesture of doing this? I'm not sure if they meant either on or off camera. So in terms of doing this off camera, not really. There have been a couple of houses that we've done off camera, for example, and we do have a couple of houses coming up that we're not going to record because they have exceptional circumstances. For example, they've been in a domestic violence situation and having their house on camera, and if their partner was to find out about it, the ex-partner kind of thing. So that would be a circumstance in which we wouldn't record. Another one is a house that I recently went to. The room that I was cleaning was so small that I physically couldn't record in there. There was just no space at all for the camera. And as well, I have helped out people that I know. And again, I haven't recorded that because they don't want me to, and that is absolutely fine. And in terms of being frightened by the gesture, I think when people do reach out and ask for help, that is a really, really brave thing for them to do. And so, yes, it is frightening. Often we'll get a message the day before we're going out from the people that we're going to saying like, I'm really nervous, or I'm crying, or I'm scared. And it's completely understandable because these people often won't let people into their homes because they're ashamed or embarrassed or just anxious about the mess. And so we're offering to come in there. They don't know us. We're offering to go in there and clean the mess and record ourselves, and they're worried about confidentiality and all that kind of thing, and just having somebody in their space. And they're all completely valid feelings. So yes, people are frightened by the gesture, but even the fact that they accept our help is just very, very admirable. They're taking that step that they need for a fresh start. People often say you can't help somebody that isn't willing to help themselves, so why are you cleaning these houses? Well, they are helping themselves by asking for help. And we don't accept any kind of negative comments like that, so we tend to delete them. And then one question that I wanted to address, and I kind of answered it, and there's a funny story about this question. So in the biohazard kitchen, I had said, I'm so glad we aren't cleaning in the US where there are like roaches and mosquitoes and all that kind of thing. And somebody commented and says, why does the UK not have roaches? And me being me, I like to go off and get the actual facts to give them about why. So I googled, why does the UK not have roaches? And I was absolutely horrified to discover that yes, of course we have roaches, and they're a lot more common than we think. And a few people had said during that video, oh, I see roaches, but I didn't actually realise that roaches could look like that. So when I watched the video back, I just thought it was a fly, but no, there definitely were roaches. Anyway, so thank you for those nightmares now. That's another thing we now have to look out for when we're doing these houses is roaches. And I did not realise that roaches could jump like that. So that is scary. And when I told Danielle, she was like, why are you telling me? I was like, because I found out you have to suffer now as well. And honestly, I wish we had recorded that interaction because it was so funny. We were going to try and like reenact it, but we always forget. So I thought I would just tell you the story anyway. Yeah, I think that's kind of all of the questions that I had. There are only a few minutes left of this video, and so I'm going to do the usual spiel of, if you like this kind of content, please like and subscribe and comment. It really helps the algorithm. Obviously, we want our videos to be pushed as much as possible so we can reach as many people as possible, because that's kind of the goal. Not only are we helping people by doing these cleans, but also, like myself, when I was watching people clean houses, that was helping me because I didn't feel so alone, or it taught me techniques, that kind of thing. So even the actual videos themselves are helpful to people, and so we want to reach as many people as possible. And you guys liking and commenting, all of that really does help with that, so thank you. Also, we do have our membership level. We are going to be bringing out membership only videos. It's not written down as one of the perks right now, but that I just literally haven't changed it. That is going to be a thing. So if you want like the members only videos of us cleaning our own homes and Danielle moving house, decluttering series, that kind of thing, then make sure you join our membership. I think it's about £2 a month. We also have a Buy Me a Coffee donation link and Amazon wishlist, and we are so grateful for everybody that donates or buys us products, as they all go towards these free cleans. And we're getting our first YouTube paycheck, I think next week, and it's around £300. The figure keeps changing, so I'm not exactly sure. But when we get that, we are actually going to do a video of us and our children going to the supermarket and buying a ton of stuff for the food bank. And I've spoken to the food bank. They're going to do a little like behind the scenes and interview and stuff, because our food banks are really struggling right now. And Ben at Flawless Cleaning Services, who I watch, he did that like last month, and I watched that and I was like, now I want to do that. That was so inspirational. It's such a good idea. So yeah, so that video will be coming up soon. We might make that a members only video, but then I also want to get the publicity for the food drive, so we maybe won't do that. Anyway, sorry, waffling again. I hope this voiceover has been okay. Obviously, I even prefer it when Danielle's here and we can talk together. So don't worry, she is coming back. This is just 1 week without her. I will make sure I'm on the ball for editing next week so we can schedule in the time to get the voiceover done. But that is the end of this clean. I hope you've enjoyed it, and as usual we will release the full ASMR version of this the day after this video releases. And yeah, I hope you've enjoyed. Goodbye, see you next week.